Young Thug and his crew have once again shaken up the hip-hop world after news broke that Wack 100 was jumped, badly beaten, and even hospitalized following a series of disrespectful comments he made about Thug and his group. And this story is spreading like wildfire across blogs, podcasts, and social media because it represents not only retaliation, but a brutal reminder what happens when words cross the wrong people in the wrong way. And in this article, we're going to take you through every angle of the saga, from the trash talk that set it off to the retaliation that left Wack 100 laid up in a hospital, and why so many people are saying this is only the beginning of a much larger feud that could change hip-hop dynamics forever. To start, we need to rewind to the comments that sparked it all, because Wack 100, who is no stranger to controversy and beef, went on record recently saying that Young Thug's group was, in his words, the worst group in the street. Remark that many immediately recognized as a direct disrespect to YSL, the crew and brand that Young Thug has built over years of music, business, and brotherhood. For those who have followed Wack 100's career, this wasn't surprising. He's built his brand off being loud, blunt, and unapologetically disrespectful at times, especially when it comes to artists or movements he doesn't respect. He's managed artists like the Game and Blueface. He's constantly on Clubhouse stirring controversy, and his reputation is one of a man who speaks without filters, often leading to feuds with rappers, managers, and even entire labels. But even with that reputation, calling Young Thug's group the worst in the street was a step too far. Please do not forget to like this video, share, and subscribe to this channel if you want more updates like this. Thank you. Now, let's get back into the video. See, Young Thug isn't just another rapper. He's one of the most influential artists of his generation, someone who has shifted the sound of hip-hop with his unique voice, fashion, and approach to melody. Beyond that, YSL isn't just a label, it's a family, a set, and a movement that carries weight in both the music industry and the streets. Disrespecting them publicly is like waving a red flag in front of a bull. And for Wack 100, that red flag ended up attracting a response he wasn't prepared for, according to multiple sources. And what's now spreading across social media like wildfire, Thug's men caught up with Wack 100 not long after his comments went viral. And they didn't just confront him, they put hands on him, leaving him beaten so badly he had to be hospitalized. Now, let's pause here to acknowledge that the streets and industry often operate on different codes, but sometimes those codes collide, and that's exactly what happened in this case. Wack 100 is always played by industry rules of provocation, hype, and headline-grabbing statements. He says things to stay relevant, to get clicks, and to control narratives. But YSL, and especially Young Thug, come from a background where words aren't just entertainment. They have consequences. Thug's men aren't about sitting around debating insults. They respond, they defend, they retaliate. So when Wack crossed that line, it was only a matter of time before retaliation arrived. And it arrived in brutal fashion. Reports suggest the attack was swift, violent, and left no doubt about the message being sent. Wack 100 was allegedly caught slipping in a setting where he didn't have his usual layers of security, and that's when Thug's men made their move. The beating was thorough enough that he needed medical attention, and by the time word got out, Wack was in the hospital, his pride and his body both battered. For many in the hip-hop community, this wasn't just a fight, it was a statement. The statement was simple: disrespect Young Thug and YSL, and you'll be dealt with no matter who you are, no matter what your reputation is. What makes this even more fascinating is how the hip-hop world has reacted. Some are openly celebrating, saying Wack 100 had it coming, that he's been disrespectful for too long, and that finally someone stood up to him in a way he couldn't ignore. Others are more cautious, pointing out that violence like this only escalates feuds and could lead to more dangerous outcomes down the line. But regardless of where people stand, nobody can deny that this story has dominated conversation, because it's not every day that someone with Wack 100 stature in the industry gets humbled in such a physical, public way. And then, of course, there's Young Thug himself. Though currently entangled in serious legal battles, including the massive RICO case that's had him and his crew under the microscope, the mere fact that his men allegedly orchestrated or carried out this retaliation shows that his influence and power remain intact. Even while Thug is dealing with courtrooms, his name still carries weight in the streets, and that weight was felt directly by Wack 100 when those fists and boots landed. It's almost symbolic. While the legal system tries to pin Thug down, the streets remind everyone that he isn't powerless, that disrespect will still be met with consequences. What's more, Wack 100 himself has built his brand off trying to portray dominance, fearlessness, and the ability to say whatever he wants without repercussions. He thrives on confrontation. But the irony here is that for all his tough talk, when confrontation came in the form of Thug's men, he wasn't ready. The hospitalization detail makes the story even juicier because it strips Wack of that untouchable image he's tried to build. He's now vulnerable. He's now a victim of the very kind of street retaliation he constantly talks about in abstract terms. And that vulnerability is exactly what his critics are using to clown him online. Memes, jokes, and viral posts are flooding Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, with fans pointing out that Wack finally got a taste of his own medicine. People are digging up clips of him disrespecting other artists, mocking their crews, and then putting it side by side with reports of him being beaten. It's humiliation on a grand stage, and while Wack 100 has proven in the past that he can talk his way out of scandals, this one feels different because it involves something tangible, his body broken down by violence, not just his words sparking debates. Looking at the bigger picture, this incident may reshape the way people deal with Wack 100 moving forward. For years, he's been able to antagonize rappers, managers, and even entire fan bases without serious consequence. But now that he's been jumped, the myth of his untouchability is gone. Future comments he makes will carry less weight, because people will remember that he can be touched, he can be caught, and he can be beaten in a culture that thrives on image. This damage to his image might be even worse than the physical injuries he suffered. As for young Thug, this only solidifies his reputation as someone who commands loyalty and respect even in the darkest of times. His men stepping up to defend his name shows that YSL isn't just a crew. It's a movement that won't let disrespect slide. Whether or not Thug himself had any direct involvement is beside the point. What matters is a narrative, and the narrative is clear. You talk down on young Thug, you face the consequences. That narrative will now follow Thug into his court battles, his music, and his public persona, further cementing his image as someone who is both loved and feared.